Hi, I'm Paul Rollins. We're changing spark plugs on my 93 F150. And we're going to show you, do an overview of all the tools and parts you may or may not need. We're rebuilding almost the whole ignition system on mine because it has been pieced together many times by myself and the previous owner. And I'm tired of having to deal with misfires and all sorts of really stupid things if I just replace it in the beginning. So, let's get to it. Okay, we also got to put this in here. It's the liability. I am no means a certified mechanic, so technically this is a
Fun project,
hobby.
recreational use.
So look up your stuff before you do anything I'm doing because, well, I'm comfortable doing this stuff and I've been doing this for quite a while. So it's one of those things that.
So what's some stuff they should know before doing this?
Oh, torque wrench. You know, sockets and stuff. Let me hold this up, like extensions. You gotta know what you gotta kind of have an idea what you're doing, and read. That's what I've been doing. That's how I know I learned how to do all this stuff. I mean, my grandfather is a mechanic, but he lives really far away, so I don't really get to talk to him a lot.
So pretty much, before you do this,
you might want to find a mentor or something.
Do your research, learn how to know what we're talking about. If you don't know the definitions or the tools, learn it before you do it. Because we don't.
It can be really costly mistake. I mean, we don't put anti-seize on threads on a. Well, depending on the manufacturer, this one I do a little bit, but if you have aluminum heads, some guys recommend that you do it. Some people say no. So really. Okay, so first off, we got our spark plugs. These are Autolites. I believe they are number 24s. But talk to your parts guy, your store that you have locally at your house, near your house, and these are the things you need to get, at least for the 93 F-150. It's got the 302. Next, we're going to be our rotor, which is part FA152. That's this part right here. This is because we're doing the whole thing here. Got our rotor. This guy right here. It's FA134. So this is super important. We'll get to that later on.
How do you know where to get the ones that you need for your truck?
I got them down at the Nampa store. I talked to the guy there and made sure that we ran the numbers and everything, make sure it's all going to fit. I've been there before to get a cap and rotor, so it was no brain. I knew I was doing. Then we got our ignition wires. Now, I got some really nice ones because I'm tired of dealing with old ignition wires. I mean, there's a whole bunch of spaghetti in here. The part number for this one is 700 313. They're the 8mm for the 8-cylinder. These work really well. I made sure I got the emissions ones because mine's got all the necessary stuff since we live in California. Then we got our adjustable crescent wrench. It's not a crescent, but it's a Craftsman. But same thing. Then we got our spanners, 3/4 Craftsman. It's really nice. But this is a 3/8 ratchet. It's got a stubby handle. It's kind of interesting, but yeah, this is good. We're gonna need this too. Got a 3/4 socket. It's a deep well. I couldn't find my short ones, but that's going to be okay because it will be going on the end of this. It's our spark plug socket. It's got a special cushion in there for the insulators so we don't break it. And it's also got a little socket on the top of it, so that way if it's really angles really hard, I can grab with this instead of a ratchet. Then I got assorted extensions in our ratchet size. Take it off. Swivel joint, U-joint, whatever the people call it, wiggle joint. Might need this just in case because room's tight in there and some of the plugs. Got our flathead screwdriver to take off our air intake. And we got our some chemicals here. This is the grease for the plug boots. And a little bit of anti-seize. Some people say yes, some people say no. I got this at Napa. I'm just going to put it a little bit on the last bit of the thread so that way I don't have issues. Because if you have an aluminum cylinder head, mine is cast iron, but if you have aluminum, anti-seize is a must. Use a very little though. A little bit goes a long way. So the idea of, technically I could actually use a regular spanner, wrench, whatever you want to call it, put these guys in. Now, that's all fine and dandy, but you got this porcelain insulator here. Porcelain is great, keeping heat and all sorts of nasty stuff inside the engine and out, seal the elements. Now, if you break it, it's completely ruined. So, some smart people a long time ago decided, hey, we'll put this rubber insert in the socket, specially designed socket.
You might not be able to see it.
There's a rubber insert in there. If you can't see it, it's barely in there. Let me see if I can pop it out. I can't right now, but there's like this piece of rubber in there. Guy goes in here, kind of very gently put it in, and then it holds it. It doesn't come out. Grabs a hold of it. So it also makes installation really easy. Instead of sitting there trying to get, you just go like this.
So it makes it easier.
Oh yeah, it's definitely necessary.
And that's how you put them in and take them out.
Yeah, because you don't want to break stuff. Because you don't want to. Yeah, see, there's the little rubber thingy that comes out. Because mine's kind of worn out. But grabs a hold of it, and then we.
Wait, let's just okay.
Then another thing that's really important is silicone grease. This one is kind of like a generic for computers connection, so it's really high quality. There's this other stuff that's called tune-up grease. There's I forget what they call it, but you stick it in your plug wires, just a little bit, to kind of seal the ends in, so that way, it seals out moisture, dirt, and also it keeps it helps avoid shorts in your wiring. So it kind of keeps all the spark in the wire instead of it shorting out to your engine block or another part. So yeah. Now, anti-seize. I talked about this earlier. If you have aluminum cylinder heads, you must use. I would actually say you must use it because unless of course your plug manufacturer says otherwise. But I would just use a little bit on there, not a whole lot, just to make sure that extra insurance that is going to come out, because you don't want to strip your aluminum heads, and then that's just a big deal. That concludes our parts and tools segment. Go. Okay, so we're going to start with the hardest one on this particular vehicle. It's the number 4 cylinder this is the Ford 302 or the 5.0. Yeah, number 4 cylinder is kind of a pain to do because you got all this, like, I think it's the evap systems in the way. So, well, actually this whole side is just complete nuts. It's very cramped over here.
So where's the number 4?
Number 4 is back here. Got your number 3, number 2, and number 1's hiding right here, right behind the alternator. So we're gonna pull the number 4 out, inspect it. We're gonna read it, see what kind of conditions it's been experiencing, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, it took us around 5 to 10 minutes to get cylinder 3 loose.
Yeah, we're gonna come back to number 4.
We were having some difficulty figuring out the...
very, very cramped in there. And I had to use a larger one with an adapter that fits this guy. So, leverage is key. These guys have been in here way longer than they should have been.
So pretty much, it took us a while. Now let's see the adapter that you used.
Been using this kind of thing has been pretty good. And then it goes like this. Goes from a 1/2 inch to like the 3/8. work our magic in there.
Yeah.
So, but I'm gonna take this off now. This guy on there because it should be able to. Just getting it started was the big key. So get back in there.
You won't be able to see what he's doing, but you'll have an idea.
And maybe if I. Yeah, you can see it's like right here. Go. Cylinder 3.
There's cylinder 3, done. And now we'll be, as soon as we did that, replacing the new one. Here, bring it over to the...
So this one's pretty good. So, but it's been in here a little bit too longer. Probably could have gone with a slightly colder plug. It's melted on the little electrode. But we'll do a more thorough analysis of it when we get them all out, and so we can have a comparison. This is just one. This guy's been here a little bit too long than it should have been, but good heat range. So we'll continue. So we'll put a little bit of anti-seize, just a little bit.
Seize?
Anti-seize, yeah. So it doesn't get stuck in the head. It's just a little bit. I'm not putting a whole lot. The guy whoever did that before me, the last set before these older ones that I were removing, replacing, they already had a ton of this stuff on here, and I'm just like, dude, just enough.
What's the downside of putting too much?
Downside? Oh, it can cause all sorts of problems. Like, it makes the cylinder not work.
And not putting enough?
Yeah, this is an iron block. We don't really technically need to, but this helps when I'm taking it out because sometimes you gotta wrestle these guys out.
So it prevents rust.
It just helps with the rust, you know, because these really depends on your area, whether. But I like to do this just a little bit so that way I know it's gonna come out instead of we broke something. Because the last time I changed it, I actually broke one of these guys. I broke the porcelain right off of one because it had been there for so long.
Okay.
And I had to use way more force than I should have. So yeah.
And how do you tighten these?
Tighten these. You put them in there finger tight. You wrench on it, and eventually you'll feel it stop. And then you just do a quarter turn. Or as the box said,
so the directions on
1/16th turn after finger tight. So, or it says no, it's taperless. This has got it's a tapered seat, so only a 1/16th turn. But if it's got like a gasket here, this will be like a washer. You want to do a 1/4 half turn on the wrench.
If you have no idea what we're talking about, go see a mechanic.
That, or read it up and then come back. I mean, but please don't do this without having proper instructions. Now that we've got our spark plug all lubed up with the anti-seize, not a whole lot, just barely on the threads if you can get that in there. Just barely. It's just barely on the top, just enough to get us where we're going. Put it back in here now. It's one of those things where there it goes. In there, got our socket right here. It's right here. There's barely any light. Turning it finger tight, and then with this, we turn it like a 1/16th of turn of the wrench, and then we're set. We don't want to over torque these spark plugs, especially this one's got a cast iron head on it. If you have an aluminum one, like this intake manifold, it's made out of aluminum. If it kind of looks like that, make sure you put a little bit of gotta know what you're doing here, because you can really screw up a lot of stuff, and costly replacement where something that should have cost maybe $50 with all the parts and everything is now going to cost a couple thousand. So just read up and figure out what works for your application.
So that's one of how many that are down?
This is one of 8. Let's see. Okay, so we just got broke loose cylinder 4's plug.
It took around maybe another 5 to 10 minutes.
This is particularly difficult because of the area that it's in.
It might be easier for other people to undo it, but yeah. Or harder depending on your situation.
Piece. I mean, this one, this has got pretty good clearance in here. I was able to get it with a swivel joint and a small extension, so.
Alright, here, let me get in there so I can show them.
Yeah, so it's way in there. It's got really dark, but it's this guy right here.
Go your hands in the way.
Yeah.
If you see where the shiny tool popping out at, if you can kind of see it and follow it, it leads straight to it.
Yeah, they're gonna.
But most likely, if you look at your manual.
Yeah, there's so depending on the year, this one has a lot of online information for this particular vehicle. I was able to get a lot of stuff like the spark plug, the ignition wire routing diagram, because there's a special way we have to do it because we'll get a crossfire. We'll talk about that a little bit later when we get to that portion. But we're gonna take the plug. I'll get all the plugs out, and then we'll get the wiring all set up, and then yeah, then we'll be able to enjoy new plugs and stuff. So yeah.
Okay, we're replacing number 4. We're putting the new one in, and that should take around 2 to 5 minutes.
Yeah,
or maybe less, depending on how well you get it to fit. So stay tuned. We'll get back to you.
Okay, now we're going to move cylinder 2. You're going to hear it. This one's particularly stubborn.
Now, what's that sound?
That's the sound of the heat shield and the boot coming off. It makes this popping noise. It's I don't know, it's kind of funny sounding, but yeah. That's the sound that everything, there's like a metal piece in our boot. I don't know if you can see it. It clamps on top of the electrode on our plug right here. So, we get that situate.
Now, where exactly is this? If you just move your hand for a second. It's located right around there.
Yeah.
There you go. Stop.
Okay, well, if you come over here real quick, you see I got a long extension on this guy. Well, I used multiple ones because this one just worked, but yeah, I did this with the removal and installation. We're installing it right now. This is just because it's kind of got an odd place. So, whatever is able to make it work, just do it, because it seems a little awkward, but yeah.
Okay.
Now we're doing the number 1 cylinder.
We just took it out.
This one's kind of tricky because there's really no way. It's really hard to.
It took us around 5 to 10 minutes to get that one out.
Yeah, once we got the right socket and adapter combo set up, we went in just fine and came out just fine. Or it's gonna go in just fine. Gonna snake it through our plumbing here. Yeah, we do that with the adapter. Now, if you notice, I'm not really wrenching this thing down. So don't use it, you'll break stuff. You go tighten it too tight.
You just do what the box says.
Yeah, like this one. I just like the
what is recommended.
Yeah, the recommendation. This one's since these are gasketless, it's recommended 1/4 turn, like a 1/16 of a turn. Now I can't get a good turning in here, so I'm gonna swap our adapters and move them up.
What's the idea of a 1/16 turn?
1/16 turn, something like this,
just like that. Nice. And there you go.
Hopefully they don't break anything. Okay, before we do the next bank, yeah, I already pre-loosened this just because time is important.
So what are we taking off?
Do the plugs.
No, I meant what you just took off.
Oh, that's the air intake. It's part of the air. It's part of the air intake system. Our filter is over here in this box, snorkel thingy, and then it goes and it feeds the throttle bodies. Now you get that practically stand on the engine. This is where these are.
So we already took out the 4, 3.
Yeah, we took out 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
And what's left is
4. 5, 6, 7.
5, 6, 7.
And then we get it in here. This is a little bit better for you, for the camera. Pull out number 8 back here.
Now this side will be easier to see.
A lot more room.
Now you saw where you put that. Right there is where. What number is that?
It's number 8.
Number 8.
Okay, now we're gonna install number 7.
Okay, we replaced already. What was the first?
Number 8.
Number 8. We had malfunctions with the camera, and it was easy. It's all the way.
It's bad. It's just
right back there.
Yeah, it's hidden right here, but it's right here.
And then we removed this one. The right side's faster than the left side.
Yeah, you can totally get a regular wrench in here, and no worries about really breaking anything.
So we're putting in number 7 right now. And you can see him just turning. There's the wrench.
Just gonna go. There you go. Okay, we kind of goofed, or I did anyway, on the numbering. Technically, we did 1. This is 5, 6, and 7, and 8 all the way back there. I've totally spaced it.
So this is what?
This is number 5. We're working. I have
5 is right here.
6.
Wait, I can't see your hand.
6 is right here.
6.
7 is all the way back here.
7's.
It's right next to the follow the oil tube dipstick, and then number 8's all the way back there.
So we did 7,
6,
6,
and we're doing 5 right now.
We're doing 5 now.
And we'll save 8 for last, cause yeah. Okay, now we're gonna take we're putting cylinder 5's plug back in.
Now it took around, again, average
5-10 minutes.
5-10 minutes for each one.
Depends on how much you want to struggle with it, and your tools, and your time. how much time you got to deal with this stuff, but yeah. That's definitely right there. That's right. 1/16 turn.
And there you go. Now we have
Do the number 8, but we're gonna wait. I'm gonna take a quick break.
Okay. We're doing number 8 right now.
There's this guy all the way back here. If you follow the wiring.
If you follow which wire?
This one I'm jiggling.
Well, it might be different for someone, but the longest wire you see. Oh, jiggle that one more time.
Right there's the last one on this bank that's not been disconnected.
Right down there is number 8. We're going to take that off. It should take around 5-10 minutes. Put the new one back on, and then it's time for the wiring.
Yep.
Okay, we're putting on the new one right now. So he's just hand screwing it in right now. And then after that, we'll go into the wiring, and then we're done. Okay, Paul got this from some website. It's for mapping.
Yeah, basically outlines how to route the ignition wires or spark plug wires. And
correctly.
Yeah, and then because you have to avoid a crossfire, you got to make sure that your number 7 and number 8 don't cross each other, because you can get a crossfire, and that's really bad for this engine.
I'll be linking this in the description.
And there's another one. This is for the distributor cap. Kind of shows you how you should route them again. Also shows you the firing order on this particular 302 Ford. So I mean, this one is this is not the high output one, so it's a different routing.
You should look up yours if it's a different model or a different name, or the motor's different. If anything's different, you gotta look this up.
Yeah.
And find out yourself.
This doesn't really work for the newer Mustangs because they have a high output cam. So yeah, similar but different cam. These are bundle ignition wires. So normally these two will probably go for 8 and 7 because they're the farthest away. And then this one will probably go for number 4. This is the third most farthest away. We'll bring up the other wires later and just kind of go by from longest to shortest. So this is the disilicone, whatever they called it. It's the same stuff. Dielectric silicone compound. This is the same silicone compound. Same stuff, just I got this at Fry's, so it's a little bit higher grade. It's the same goo. You know, so you just I just put a little bit in here, just a smidgen, and then I'm gonna put some on the end of the spark plug to keep all the corrosion out of it, so we can when I have to change them out, I'll be able to pop them out instead of damaging the whole boot and everything. So.
Okay, right now he's putting the
dielectric grease, just a blob, not a whole lot, just enough to make sure that none of the corrosions of the corrosive elements of the engine compartment can really affect the plug's performance.
Is there a certain way to put these on?
Yeah, you just kind of make sure that you feel it click when you put it in. So.
And you put it in the right way. So
yeah,
pretty much the flat.
This little end goes to your distributor can.
Let me see it again.
This end. There's another end.
The flat one goes over there.
Yeah, the 90 degrees bend, and then there's the 45 one goes to the plug itself. So look at the diagram.
Alright, you went to look at the diagram so you can figure out what goes where.
We're gonna take number 8 out. Put the new one. This is the old cap. The only reason why I'm doing that is that way we replace one wire at a time. I know which wire I'm putting in. I know which ignition wire I'm putting in. Then once I get all the A to B stuff from point 1 to point 2, plug 2, cap. I will then adjust for the routing. That way we make sure that everything's going where it does, because I've seen the cap go on backwards. You don't want that. It'll damage the engine. So we're going to double check after I do connect all the stuff to the distributor cap. They'll come back and then we'll disconnect a few of them to make sure that we follow the article on making sure we don't have a crossfire or anything, double check our work here. So. Okay, at the time, this is the reason why you should use a little bit of dielectric grease on your wiring and everything, because my coil over here got a lot of corrosion, so that might be part of the reason why I have some ignition issues. So I got a small wire brush. It's kind of pathetic, but yeah.
So what have we done so far?
Gotten all the plugs to the distributor cap.
So we went from 1 to 8 and replaced all the wiring.
Yes.
We followed the correct mapping that you should look for online or from your manufacturer. Just look for type of motor and car and models.
You should be able to Google it or whatever. If not, you can always get a manual that will tell you like whatever part store you order from.
And also, if you can't spend that type of money for the book, or you can't find it online, just try and follow the wiring.
Yeah, just replace one at a time.
Follow it really carefully.
Yeah, just.
But I advise
get a book though, because
get the book.
If you keep doing this kind of stuff, you're gonna want to do it anyway. So you do it right the first time, and it actually save money instead of oh, I screwed up, I need to go take it to the mechanic now. So.
Okay, pretty much. Someone didn't tell me that.
Yeah. Okay.
He moved on, but we got the
cap. Basically what you do is. Here's our cap. It's got a number 1. This is the old one. So it sits in the engine bay like this. So you just take all your wiring, all the ignition wires, and then put them to their
how do you know which one's the front, which one's the back on it?
Front and back. This one always goes to the front. This is number 1 cylinder. And it only really fits on one way because it's got a little notch. Then there's these little clamps, but you gotta put this guy in. There's a little thing. It just kind of pulls out and pulls in. So it disappears into there. So here, I could actually pull this out.
So pretty much you just sit up on the little spindle, sits there.
Yeah, because this guy pulls out.
Yeah. And then you put the top part on.
And just go. And clamp it down.
And then you're done.
And then, yeah. Ready to go. This engine needs new wire looms to route the wires so they don't have any issues. So your mileage may vary on that one. So I have to go to the parts store after this and replace the broken looms.
So. And now we're just putting back on the what?
Air intake. One of the air intake pieces.
The air intake, and then we're done.
Yep.
So stay tuned for tutorials on new stuff. But.
Yeah.